We're here with Bob Krimmel, the athletic director at St. Francis University out in Loretto, Pennsylvania. Mr. Krimmel, it's a pleasure to have you here at the NEC front row set here at NEC headquarters. You're here, of course, for the October athletic directors meeting. But instead of talking about all that administrative stuff right now, let's talk about all the great things going on at St. Francis. And I guess we'll start with the women's soccer program. Brenda Van Stralen's team has already clinched the top seed, and plans are underway to host the 4-team NEC tournament. So
we're very excited, Ralph, and to have the opportunity to host the tournament for the second year in a row is truly an honor for St. Francis. We had such a great time doing it last year as an institution. It really allowed us to bring to everyone's attention in the area the success of our soccer program and the extent to which women's athletics has really had a proud tradition at St. Francis, and soccer is an extension of that. But we're looking forward to next weekend and the opportunity to have the top 4 teams in the NEC come to Loretto and feature the best in NEC women's soccer.
And, of course, you mentioned the history of women's athletics at St. Francis. The women's basketball program, an unprecedented 11 Northeast Conference titles. Of course, the soccer team now. And there's another team that's up and coming over at St. Francis. In fact, you mentioned the soccer weekend. That could be a really busy weekend in Loretto if the field hockey team holds on to the number 1 seed and winds up hosting the 4-team NEC field hockey tournament, which would be the very same weekend, of course.
It would be, and it would be a lot of excitement. 2 banquets on the same night, and then 4 semifinal matches on Friday, 2 in field hockey and 2 in soccer. But we've been very fortunate. Coach Bean has done a tremendous job of building our program, and each year we've seen improvement, and the fruits of our labor are truly coming into play, and the women on our team are fantastic student athletes, really represent the finest in what the Northeast Conference wants when we talk about student athletes, and then to have success on the field has just been a real highlight. It's something that campus is very excited about. But they have 2 tough matches this weekend in front of them, and Ryder on Friday, and then Robert Morris. And when Robert Morris and St. Francis playing anything, the 2 PA schools have a great time. So, we hope they'll be ready. I know they'll be ready. And if we're fortunate enough to win the regular season, we look forward to welcoming another group of student athletes and coaches and fans to Loretto.
Now, how would your staff feel about that? I mean,
everyone knows that next weekend there will be absolutely no sleep because in addition to those 2 championships, we also have 2 men's regular season soccer games that we have to play as well because they're battling for a playoff spot. We have 2 home volleyball matches, and our women are in the thick of the hunt for a playoff spot in women's volleyball. And then we have exhibition women's basketball and exhibition men's basketball. So it will be a great sports weekend, and that's what we're selling. If you want to see sports, come to Loretto next weekend.
Yeah, smorgasbord of sorts there. And real quick before we let you go, we touched on the women's teams. What about the football team this year? They already have 3 wins. And they could have had maybe 5 or 6, quite frankly. They've been in almost every game down to the wire. They took Duquesne to the wire. They like I've said, they've had a great victory at Morehead State. And it seems like, at least from looking at all the social media and the Twitter and the Facebook postings, it seems like people are really excited about Red Flash football, and Chris Valerio has injected some life into the program.
He really has. Coach V, as we call him, has done a great job building a staff, putting a staff together that would help us build a program. And if you look at what he's done in his time at St. Francis, we've built the program. And 5 years ago, we had 70 young men playing football for St. Francis, and this year we have 125 playing football for St. Francis. And Chris has been there for 3 years, and that growth has been the result of his efforts and his staff's efforts in recruiting students to come and believing that we can do something that could be very, very special. And big steps this year. We've got three games ahead of us and a tough one this Saturday at Central Connecticut, and I'm sure that they'll be ready for us. And it's the anniversary of last year's Snow Bowl. because when they came to Loretto last year, we had 10 inches of snow, and so we
Snow in Loretto?
it
You're
happens
kidding.
every once in a while, Ralph.
Once in a while, yeah.
We have a snowfall, and last year, Halloween weekend, it was Central and St. Francis in the Snow Bowl. So I hope the guys go up to Central and Paul, returns better weather to our kids than we were able to deliver last year. But we do have 3 tough ones, because after that, we still have to deal with a trip to Monmouth, where it's always tough, and then we come home.
That
for
game
the
will be on
Heart.
television at Monmouth, of course. Monmouth St. Francis, November 10th at the Jersey Shore. We'll air that live on Fox College Sports as well as ESPN3, so some national TV exposure. But, so I know you mentioned the football team has 3 tough games coming up, but 3 exciting games nonetheless.
Without a doubt. Every weekend in the NEC in football is an exciting weekend. When you see how close and how competitive the games have been this year, it keeps people in the seats until the very, very end. And I know last week we came up on the short end against Wagner, and it was homecoming for us. But what a great college football game. If you didn't care about the outcome, unfortunately I did. Walt Hamlin was very happy because he, as AD and coach, had a double win. But it was a great college football game. Back and forth, excitement, and that's Northeast Conference. No matter what the sport is, you come and watch our student athletes compete, and they compete until the bitter end, and it's always an exciting competition.
And as we know, they're not only competing in Loretto this year, they're winning a lot too. And for those sports fans out there, November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, there's no other place you would want to be than Loretto, Pennsylvania. Plenty of sporting events coming up on tap. And we just want to thank Mr. Krimmel for his time today. Once again, it's always a pleasure when we get to sit down with the St. Francis Athletic Director. Thank you.
Ralph, thank you. Always a pleasure.